Right. One second now. Radhe Radhe, everyone. So today we are going to do the fifth discourse, which is the second last weekend for the Mahatmyam. So afterwards, like we are going to full on start the Shrimad Bhagavatam. So before that, let's do the invocation. One second. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam, Kamsachanuramardanam, Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, so this discourse is known as how Gokarna attained final beatitude, means liberation, along with others. Sarvam Krishna Arpamastu. One second. All right. So let's do a brief recap. In the previous session, we learned about how Sankadi brothers were explaining the glory of Shrimad Bhagavatam. And in that, how Bhakti Devi came along with her healthy two sons, Gyan and Vairagya. And she asked Sankadi brothers, rishis, where should like you have restored us to our original strength and potency, and where should we now stay in the age of Kali? So they advised her to reside in the hearts of the true Vaishnavas or true devotees of Lord Hari. So she just manifested in their hearts. The moment she established herself in the hearts of the devotees, immediately Krishna came. So, and now everybody could see him within their hearts, and they were filled with exhilaration to such an extent that they started becoming they started losing their body conscious, and they just got established in their soul. At that stage, looking at the devotion and looking at the mesmerizing sight and the Krishna's presence, Narada actually asked Sankadi brothers that what kind of human beings actually can get liberated at the during the Kali Yuga by the by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sankadi brothers started saying that even the most you know, most people who have done the most heinous crimes, and if they by any chance get to hear this for the 7 days, they will get liberated. And to that effect, they told the story about Atmadev. So he who was not having a child and was very upset. He was a Brahmin, and he was from a well-to-do family, but he lived on alms, and he donated half of his wealth to everyone in the village, but to no avail. He was not getting a child. So he retreated to a forest where he met an saint who was perfect in yoga, and he asked, like the saint asked him, "Why are you crying?" He said that I'm childless and makes me sad. He says, "You are a Brahmin, so you are in the path of God, don't focus on all of this. I've seen your um what do you call, I've seen your past. In next 7 births you will not have a child, so don't go on that route." But he says that go in the path of God. Says, I'm without child, I don't find any meaning in this life, so you must if you can do something, you must do it. Then he actually told the story of the King Chitraketu, and how he all we heard that story, right? So from there, still he was saying no. He was still sad. So then finally, the rishi gave him a fruit and he said, "Give to your wife." So he gave to the wife, and the wife was not happy. because she thought her figure will go away, and she might not run if a robber comes, and all sorts of things. Her mind was not under her control, so it was just going randomly. So she hid the fruit, and when her sister, who was pregnant, came, she told her about all of that, and she said, "You can take my baby, and I'll tell my child died. You can say that you don't have milk, and I'll come and feed. So, and you can give some money to my husband." So everything was arranged as per plan, and to check the potency of the fruit, to give it to a cow. So she gave the fruit to the cow, and the sister had a child. And the Atmadev's wife's name is Dhundhuli. So Dhundhuli told that, yeah, the child was born, everything, at the back happened, and Atmadev believed that truly, the he got a son. The son's name was kept as Dhundhukari. So Dhundhukari, and after 3 months, the cow also gave birth, and the boy had a peculiar ear, like a cow, but he was a human. So everybody was astonished. Now he has two kids. And then he raised the Gokarna as, he gave the baby's name as Gokarna, and he raised both of them as his own child. So Dundukari, actually, when he grew up to be very evil, and he who for unnecessarily, he will rob people, steal, murder people, all kinds of bad actions. And then he gave up every all. There was no money left in the house, like that. He made sure that he uses it, and he throws away stuff. So that made Atmadev very, very sad, and he actually, because he was attached to the son, he was very, very sad. So one day he was sitting and crying, and Gokarna came there, and he said, "Father, don't grieve. You have so much attachment. You are not responsible for your son's bad actions. So detach yourself from that. Whatever he is doing is his karma. It's not yours." So, and then he said that, "What should I do? This pain is not going away." So he says, "You go retreat to a forest, and you read Shrimad Bhagavatam," and which actually Atmadev continued, and he actually achieved oneness with Krishna at the end of his life. So this was what we discussed as a recap. I mean, in the previous this thing class. So today we'll see what happened next. Okay. So this story is actually being told by Sutamani at Naimisharanya to Shaunaka Rishi and the other 80,000 gathered there, and which actually, there is a story inside the story. So inside the story is the, Sutamani told that he heard the story from Shukhamuni when he was telling this to Parikshit, and then Shukhamuni was telling the story about this person who, I mean, Narada, who came, and he was, Bhakti Devi and all of that. So now, again, coming back to the original, the Sutta Muni again started saying what happened next. Okay. So after his father retired to the woods, whose father, Dhundhukari's father, he actually started beating his mother. Okay. And he wanted the money. He says, like, "Tell me where the money is, or I'll thrash you with a burning stick." He was very cruel. So his mother was really afraid, and she was very sad, how the events have turned out, and she threw herself into the well, and she died from the fall. So, and on the other side, when the both parents have left, now Gokarna was already in yoga. He followed his father's path of reading scriptures and everything. So he was united with God. So he had no enemy or friend, and so he left on a pilgrimage. So Dhundhukari now had a freedom. Mother is not there, father is not there. So he actually brought to 5 prostitutes, and he started staying with them in his own house. So now it was very difficult to maintain them, and the women one day demanded that, we need some ornaments. So then he goes out, and he steals money from various places and returns. Okay. And he gives them all this money and, gold ornaments and everything. So that night, the woman, actually seeing the collection of riches, says that this man commits theft every day. Sooner or later, the king will surely catch him, and then they will take everything from us, so let's, to protect this wealth, let's secretly kill him and then flee wherever we like. So they actually, and when he was asleep, they tied him up and they killed him. Okay. So if you want to read, you can read the first 2 points. So once they killed him, they buried him, and they ensured that no one would discover their crime, and they kept it as a complete secret. So when they cannot suddenly all of a sudden go now, so they actually stayed there for some time. And when people asked where is Dhundhukari, they said that he's gone for a gone to some distant place out of greed for wealth and will return within a year. So Sutamuni remarked, again, Sutamuni, he came that, a wise man should never ever place his trust in a wicked woman. A fool who relies on them invites calamities upon himself. So then he says that, then he adds that their words may sound sweet and full of nectar, their hearts are as sharp as razors. And so you should never be with such ladies. So then he says that after collecting the wealth, these women ran away. So, and meanwhile, what happened to Dhundhukari? He took a form of a dreadful spirit because of all the bad actions. He, being a Brahmin, he could not get salvation. So, so what happened now? He became a ghost, and that is also a restless ghost. So he was wandering everywhere. He was constantly tortured. So he assumed a form of a whirlwind, constant, and was constantly tortured by cold and heat, running here and there without food or water. He just kept repeating the words, "Ah, goodness." So uh, in time, Gokarna heard about his brother, and he actually started performing wherever he was on a pilgrimage, right? So wherever he was going, he was doing Shraddh for his brother. So there was this famous place called Gaya, where if a person is, does a Shraddh for anyone, they surely gets liberation. So he did that for the Shraddh for Dhundhukari at Gaya also. So after that, one day he returned. He returned to his village and he decided to sleep outside his cottage. So and when he was sleeping, actually Dhundhukari's spirit revealed itself to Gokarna in a terrifying form. So now Dhundhukari, um, first he appeared as a ram, and then he became an elephant, and then a buffalo. So, but you have to understand that Gokarna was actually united with God. So he was like a fearless man. He was not afraid of anyone. So there he appeared as an Indra, a god of fire, and a human. So observing this strange behavior, Gokarna actually remained calm and firm, and he concluded that there's something wrong, so what is this? So he actually addressed the spirit and said, who are you and why are you appearing in like many many forms? So what happened? Are you a spirit, an ogre? So then actually the spirit wanted to speak, but he was not able to, so he was struggling. So then Gokarna, because he was so pious, he actually took some water in his hand, chanted some mantra, and sprinkled the water over the ghost. And that actually, to a limited extent, removed the sins of the ghost. And now he was able to speak. So the ghost said that I'm your brother Dhundhukari. Through my own fault, I lost the status of Brahmana and fell into this miserable state. So then now the Dhundhukari is admitting that I have committed countless sins in ignorance, even killing others. And now, because of my own deeds only, I was tortured by these women, and because they've put coals, that's why I was not able to talk. So I became this ghost as a result of my sins. Now, please help me out. I want to be liberated. So Gokarna was wondering, because he already performed the highest of the shraddh that can be done for a person, which is, in Gaya. And he was really he started just like our Narada was wondering what to do, how to help. Like that, he was I mean, Gokarna was started wondering, how can I help these people? I mean, how can I help Dhundhukari? So then day, he actually went and started asking the villagers, and then um, uh, he shared his encounter with the spirit and sought their advice. So, despite consulting sacred texts, there were no answers that they could find. And the sages said that you can pray to sun god and ask. So, the Gokarna actually prayed to sun god, and sun god appeared because of his pious nature. He was happy with Gokarna's prayers, and he came and he said that you must read Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you read it over 7 days, it will bring salvation to the spirit. So hearing this, so originally Narada has asked what kind of human beings can get liberated. So I think Gokarna is the best example because he's committed all kinds of sins and you can find everything together. So hearing this divine solution, everyone rejoiced. They declared this is simple yet powerful. Let us follow this path with diligence. So Gokarna started making preparations to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, and he invited everyone, and people began gathering from far and wide to attend the reading. So now that Gokarna started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, so I was making preparation. Actually, Dhundhukari hid himself inside a standing bamboo, hollow bamboo, which was there. So there was a large gathering. Okay, everybody was there. So people from various places, including the countryside, came to listen to the holy recitation. Even the elderly, blind, and disabled attended, hoping to cleanse their sins. So even the gods were amazed by the sight. So just like how it was for the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam for the Bhakti Devi. All the celestial beings came here, all humans, from all sides, whoever heard about it came. So now the spirit settled within the bamboo and listened to the recitation with great attention and devotion, feeling a glimmer of hope that maybe, because Suryadev has said, or maybe he might get liberated from his sins because he's already guilty. So he remained gaseous and unseen. The spirit stayed fixed inside the bamboo. So the interesting thing about this bamboo was it had 7 joints. Okay, so which actually makes me think about we say now we have 7 chakras in our body, so something like that probably, I don't know. So the spirit settled within the bamboo and listened to the recitation with great attention and devotion, feeling a glimmer of hope. Remaining gaseous and unseen, the spirit stayed fixed inside the bamboo, listening intently to every word of the sacred text. Gokarna, with deep reverence, began expounding Srimad Bhagavatam from the very first book, so ensuring everyone could hear clearly. So at the end of the first day, a miracle occurred. So one of the 7 joints of the bamboo cracked open in front of. There was a big noise and it broke. So now leaving everyone astonished. The second day also similar thing happened. Another joint burst open. On the third day, another. So it just started, breaking one by one. So this pattern continued for the 7 days, and on the seventh day, after the reading was completed, the final joint of the bamboo broke open. And look who came out. Dhundhukari's ghostly form was completely destroyed, and he emerged in a divine form. And you know whose form he got? He appeared radiant with a dark brown complexion like a rain cloud, dressed in yellow silk and adorned with tulsi beads and ornaments. He got almost like a Krishna's, form. So bowing to his brother, Dhundhukari said, O Gokarna, out of your kindness you have freed me from my cursed ghostly form. He praised the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, saying, this sacred reading destroys all suffering and grants liberation to those who listens with devotion, because it was his reality, right? A 7-day reading of this text is so powerful that sins shudder at the thought of its cleansing effect, he declared. Just as fire burns all kinds of wood, whether wet or dry, Srimad Bhagavatam eradicates sins no matter how great or old they are. So it's like, why old means we might be carrying generations of sins that, we always think now, why our prarabdha is what they are trying to say, and probably the sanchit also. So Dhundhukari added, it is said that the human life in Bharatvarsh is wasted if one fails to hear this divine scripture. So now Gokarna is, looking at Dhundhukari and listening to him saying all of this. So while he was saying, and he said further that even if one does not perform severe penance or austerities, tapa and all of that, hearing this sacred text for 7 days brings liberation. Dhundhukari explained. He continued, the knots of ignorance, these knots that bamboo broke, in the bamboo that was broken, uh, the knots of ignorance in the heart are untangled and doubts are resolved through this holy recitation. While Dhundhukari spoke, a dazzling aerial chariot arrived, manned by celestial beings from Vaikunta. And they, it was sent to escort him to the divine realm. So he was eligible for Vaikunta. So Dhundhukari boarded the chariot with gratitude while everyone watched in awe and wonder. So then Gokarna had this one doubt. He said that he went to them and asked the beings that many others have listened to this sacred reading with devotion. Why have chariots not come for them? Why only for Dhundhukari? So then they replied that although everyone heard the recitation, not all reflected on its meaning or listened with the same intensity. So it's just not about hearing alone. It's about the manana. It is also about the nididhyasana. You have to deeply think. If one small can people hear see me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, got a call actually. So okay, um, yeah. So he continued. Where was I? Yeah, he said that you must have that manana, you must have that nididhyasana, then only it will give you the maximum benefit. So he said that you have to keep thinking. If suppose one line, out of this class also, something gets stuck in your mind, you think about it, you keep thinking about it, keep thinking about it, you will know that it will make a house in your head, and then from there someone small doubt will come, and you have to ruminate on that, you keep thinking about that. So that's how we have to develop that. So that will bring that one pointedness, that concentration which is required. Otherwise, just listening for 7 days will eradicate sins, but it may not, entirely give that liberation that we are seeking, because that is what happened here also, because everybody was listening, but not all reflected on its meaning or listened with the same intensity. So they explained, Tundukari, however, listened with complete focus, abstaining from food and drink. So he did not take any break. He was continuously listening, and it reflected deeply on every word. So when Gokarna heard about it, you know, then he further said, they said that knowledge without faith, half-hearted listening, or a restless mind cannot bring the full reward. The attendance, the full rewards will not come. So the attendant said, those who hear with devotion. So it's just not about going and hearing that 7-day thing. You have to think about it. So those who hear with devotion, reflect on the teachings, and develop a steady mind are truly blessed by this sacred text. Encouraged by their words, Gokarna decided to conduct another reading of Shrimad Bhagavatam for the benefit of all listeners. So now people knew what they have to do, so they came prepared. So in the month of Shravana, he performed another 7-day reading, and even more people gathered to hear it. At the conclusion of the second reading, Lord Sri Hari himself appeared surrounded by celestial beings. So the Lord embraced Gokarna lovingly and blessed him with a divine form similar to his own. So here, and everybody got their divine body. Everybody went to Vaikunt, but Gokarna was favored by Lord Krishna because he was the one who worked, or maybe he was well versed. He was a Brahmin. He was well versed in, he helped his father also. His conduct was nice. He was already kind of divine by nature. So for whatever reason, Sri Hari came, and he actually took him to Golok. Everyone else went to Vaikuntha. So all were transported to the heavenly. Actually, no, everyone went to Golok. So all were transported to the heavenly realm of Srihari, a destination attained by true yogis alone. Just as Ayodhya's people had once ascended with Sri Rama, these listeners reached Goloka, Krishna's realm. By hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam, they attained that divine abode beyond reach for the greater seeker. So that's awesome, right? Both the reader and the listener, they all went to the same place. So even a single word of this sacred reading absorbed with faith grants release from the cycle of rebirth. The rewards of Srimad Bhagavatam are far greater than any penances or asceticism practiced over lifetimes. So all we have to do is read this again and again and again, probably. So yeah. So great sages, because that's what they did two times, right? We are in Kali Yuga. Great sages like Shandilya Muni also read the story in blissful union with the Supreme. Probably the story will come in future. So heard even once, this story purifies, frees ancestors, and ultimately leads to liberation, as was shown in the story. So this actually ends the fifth discourse titled How Gokarna Attained Final Beatitude along with others from the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam in the Uttarakhand of glorious Padma Purana. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I can I ask some questions?
Yes.
So, actually, few. So, one of the things mentioned in the very beginning was like men should not, I think, come in association with wicked women, right? Something like that. That
Hmm.
was for Dhundhukari and his five. I was just
Hmm.
wondering. I mean, the genders can be exchanged, right? That is, I think,
Yeah.
my
No,
matriarchal
he was
mindset
he
comes.
was giving the example of these ladies,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because that all they already committed these things, right? We
yeah,
never know. That's why probably.
yeah. Okay. And the second one was, I think, the Gaya that you were mentioning, it's Bodh Gaya, right? Where the Buddhism has originated in Bihar, is the same place, right?
I didn't do a search.
Okay. I think it is Gaya only. That's
Yeah.
place of Buddhism. And
Okay.
third
I
thing,
can
like
tell you
we were,
next time.
yeah. Third thing, we were talking about how important it was for Dhundhukari to be a very good listener, like Shravanand, Mananan, Nididhyasan. How about Gokarna? Because one thing that I felt was that he was doing it all with a very, very pure heart, right? And with a sense of service towards his brother or even the society in general. So, how important that aspect is when we are talking about Mahatmyam of Bhagavatam. So,
Actually, I think when somebody is doing something for, that seva bhav is already there, means that person is actually being an example only. So we should follow them. And then we should understand that, they have this power to transform everyone. So I think that's what we can learn from his. Anything Nitin sir can say?
No, my understanding is that yeah, the same rule applies to the Vakta and Shrota, right? One the orator and one who's the listener. So if an orator is doing it for the right reasons with the firm conviction, um, then what goes around comes around, right? It's not that you're doing it for then you don't get anything in benefit, right? But the key is that you're doing it with faith, right? And complete conviction, and not doing it for any external, um, fame, or for money, or for something else, right? You have kathavachaks and people who might do it for that reason, but if you're doing it for truly the welfare of others, of course, you will be the intended beneficiary as well. I don't think God will cut you a raw deal when you are truly trying to do it and helping in, with conviction, faith, surrender. You will also, I mean, spiritual laws, they act the same on everyone, right? So, rater and listener, depending upon how much faith, devotion you carry to that, you will get the same result, is how I would interpret or understand it.
So, and now one more follow-up. So this knowledge and faith thing is like a cycle, right? Like more knowledge, more faith, more knowledge. Or I don't know. Like, so how do you, there's always this thing, right? What is the basic minimum thing that um, brings in that faith in you so that you want to acquire more knowledge from scriptures with the right set of intent?
Um, See, the faith, basically devotion to God, is like that much is good enough, right, for you to progress. If you have faith like that God is there, and the ultimate purpose of human life is to attain God, if that much faith is needed to progress, nothing else is needed. Now, when it comes to what is Shastra Sammat behavior in this situation and all that stuff, that will get revealed in due course of time. But for us to progress, a little bit of faith is good enough actually to start. And when we utilize that faith, then knowledge will get revealed. Wisdom will automatically come in, is how I feel, that we don't require a lot of faith actually to progress on this path. Knowledge will happen in due
Yes.
course of time. Which one?
Yeah, yeah. I was saying the fact that what is our ultimate purpose comes from knowledge only, right? Without that, we cannot understand this.
True, that part is there. Some people, it clicks to them because of their past sanskars. So, how much knowledge is needed? It's an important, interesting question. How much knowledge is needed for us to do devotion? Right? Some people don't even know what is the ultimate, but they just rely on what their guru had told, and they will continue doing that. Right? Like there's this ashram that was built in New Jersey, which was that ashram, that temple, big temple,
Akshardham,
Akshardham.
Bab's temple, right? Yeah.
Perhaps temple, right? So for them, they don't have a lot of knowledge. Just one book, small book that they follow. For them, the word of their guru is good enough, right? So they were able to build such a monumental thing when they ran into so many problems. So did they have a lot of knowledge? No, right? Little bit of faith moved mountain for them. For that matter, Mara Mara, right? We know that story of Valmiki ji. Did he have a lot of knowledge? No, just small faith that he has to follow this word, and that's about it. So they did not have knowledge. Knowledge got revealed in due course of time. And then by the time he finished, not finished, but just by saying Mara Mara Ram, he became Trikaldarshi. He could actually write Ram's Leela even before the avatar had taken place. And he was also part of that story, right? So he didn't have a lot of knowledge if you think about it. Little bit of faith helped him move. Even Bible says, right? A faith worth mountain, mustard seed can move mountains. So not much faith is needed actually if you think about it. We don't need to know what's the purpose of life, what are the real divine realms, where is Saket Lok, Golok, all that stuff. All we need is, okay, there is some God, and we need to practice devotion to him. Rest all will start falling in place automatically. And this is how at least I feel.
That's
A lot
where,
of knowledge is not needed.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, sorry.
No, actually, I wanted to say like like few weeks back, we were discussing about this Gyan, Vairagya, and Bhakti, right? So, what is Gyan? Gyan is understanding what is real, right? Sat, and what is Asat. So, all these Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, which is happening in your mind, your body, all these knowledge that your worldly knowledge, all of this is Asat. The Sat is only the soul, God. Oh, so that is the only knowledge that you need. Okay, there is somebody. Now, if you go behind it, leaving everything else, then that is Vairagya. And that path where you're seeking God is known as Bhakti. So when you know there is someone else and you truly believe it, you already have faith. And then it just builds on. And I think Nitin sir tells now that you don't know where you are going, but things reveal little by little, right? So wherever the torchlight is shining, you go that way, and you things reveal on its own. So uh, basically, and also Gokarna's case, I think he's really, really pure at heart, So he's not thinking and intellectualizing these knowledge and all of that. He had a simple mind, he had full faith, because of which probably he has attained the union with God even before. His father was also like that, but he was very attached. But this person was so simple that he was not. So we have to be like that, I think, to be under the, I mean, we are all under grace, but I think to understand that more, or to share, or I think it comes naturally.
So yeah, if
Yeah,
I
it's a very interesting question actually. Knowledge is cannot be understated as well, right? But I think people who are born with so much of faith to begin with in their lives, maybe they have practiced this kind of knowledge or gained that knowledge in their previous lives where they don't need it anymore. It's just there, it comes spontaneously, naturally to them. Right? Sometimes when I would see my grandmother or Nani and all, where do they have so much of faith? They don't have so much knowledge, but somewhere it's there. And it's better to be in that position than in other where you are just doing a lot of intellectual gymnastics and still not having that faith, right? So maybe something has clicked for them in life. And then the beauty of this path is that the more bhakti you do, the more clear your heart becomes, the more knowledge gets revealed from within. You don't have to gain it from scriptures, right? It's like you can download or it gets revealed from within. So that starts happening all by itself. Kabir Das, if you look at it, academically, he did not have great credentials, right? But the work, the way, the things he would say carried so much of depth, practically realized things, so much of depth in his dohas. In school, we used to listen to and it didn't make sense at that time. Now, if you think about it, it's so profound, right? Where did that come from?
Mhm.
So yeah, knowledge is important. I get that, but I think maybe for some people who are lucky or who have worked hard on that aspect, devotion comes more spontaneously and naturally, which is essentially what is needed at the end of it, right? So, yeah.
Because knowledge can become an impediment in your journey, because you cannot experience everything. You will be like, oh, this I knew that. So that becomes an impediment.
So that's what I actually wanted to follow up upon, like there are people who are in the process of acquiring knowledge but still struggle to develop that faith, right? And I thought it might be an important point for us to discuss here. What are the practical things one can do? Like, see, of course, we cannot develop the faith without having God's grace. Ultimately, that is what gives us that faith, which like strengthens this belief in us that he is our true protector, lover, controller, and everything, right? But there are situations, so for example, nam jap. Is that something that can um, indirectly help strengthen our faith? Or what are the efforts that we can do from our end, apart from acquiring the knowledge, that can help us strengthen our faith? Because at the end of the day, unless a true atheist, a true believer in God will not have any problem. Like we discussed Gokarna, right? We don't need anything, but just that simple, pure heart who loves and believes. So, what are the practical practices one can do to strengthen that from their end?
I think surrender. When you don't understand, you say, I'm giving it to you. That's the most practical thing that you can do, because life throws us here and there in all kinds of situation. It will be put. I have been gone through that. Every like wherever the problems are going, whether I'm involved or not, like, come on, let's go. I have been in like worst problems, but then what can we do? We say, okay, it's your wish, so be it. And it comes with time. So yeah, I think that's what comes in my mind, is the most practical thing is surrender. I don't know, you are taking care, I'm in your um you know mercy.
Yeah, acceptance. I think that's a great tool. Acceptance, having acceptance. Even Draupadi, see, it's like, who do we want to dial first when the problem comes, right? The other day I was hearing that discourse. Whose phone number is on our speed dial when some problem comes? Who's the first person that comes to your mind when you have a problem? That will tell us how much we leave it to God. If it is God, great. If for Draupadi, it was not God, right? She started circling around with her husband and all the way, and she even dialed her teeth. She had faith that it is going to clasp that, but after that, she resorted to that. So, similarly, are we immediately accepting or are we leaving it to God? That's a good point actually to think about. How do we deepen our faith around it? And then he says Nam Jap and Dhyan is, I think, meditation. It clears off a lot of stuff, right? So it says that Maya, it erases our memory. Right? We don't remember what we did yesterday, at what were we doing yesterday at this time. Maya has a tendency to erase our memory. We don't know how miserable our existence was when we were in our mother's womb. We don't remember the kind of struggles we have had in our past lifetimes, right? Or all the backlog that we have of our Shubha Shubh karmas. So Maya erases memory, bhakti, devotion to God, it refreshes memory. It actually situates us in where we need to be. So when we do devotion, devotion, that means remembering God. Remembrance, see, when we remember somebody, their name comes to our mind, right? So if you remember their name, form will start coming in, leelas and everything will start happening. So I think that's a great tool to have. I like the example that Premananji gives. It's like when you are, when you sleep and you're taking a chadar, you try to take a chadar on you, especially when it is cold and you're trying to snatch a blanket in the middle of the night. If you pick up one corner, the others will follow suit, right? One corner is what you need. So similarly, when you start with name, the roop, leela, everything will start coming in all by itself. So you pick up one corner, name is the easy thing, right? Roop dhyan becomes a little difficult. You cannot do that all the times. And other aspects and thinking about leelas, but name is something, if we can build it as part of our breath, I think that's the best gift. I mean, I'm trying to practice it. It's not easy. Like, it's not easy because it kills your mind. Basically is going against the very nature of your mind. But if the more we do, the best, that is the best we can do. I think that's actually the part of bhakti, and it helps you give a manobal, like they say, that what you call that inner strength. You gain that. I mean, it is something you can experience for sure. If you continue to do that, there is some inner strength you start gaining around it. So I think that's the more bhakti we do, the more we remember God, the more we chant His names, the better we'll become with regards to our devotion and faith. So
Uh, I never knew about satsang or Krishna or, I mean, I had my Shiva with me all the time, every time. So he came, you know, here one day I got a call and do you want to learn Bhagavad Gita? I said, sure. Because
mm,
I've gone to the temple, Shiva's temple, and I was there, so I thought it's some relation. See, and I got such wonderful people now. Learning, being in satsang. I think it's just that bhakti that brings, or
right.
yeah. Another one more point when Nitin sir was saying, I got was expectations. I think the biggest thing is, I mean, not biggest. For me, at least, I felt like whenever we do something, and if it is coming from, some expectation, then I think we are not doing the true justice to whatever we are doing. I'll tell you example is when I learned Bhagavad Gita for the first time, I had this great desire to teach everyone Bhagavad Gita, and why? Because I thought it's, they will get liberated and all kinds of things. So
And you
because
to
that
become a
expectation.
Gokarna, na? You wanted to become Gokarna.
I don't know. I was just yeah, I had that. I think you also did, na, sir. You wanted to spread that to everyone. You started taking classes, so then you learn, in a hard way, that people who want to learn, they are like another tribe by itself. So if you go thinking that you will do something, you cannot do. It's coming from ego. Only God plans everything.
Mm,
So drop the expectation and go with the flow. Whatever happens, whatever has to happen will happen.
Very true. God is the, like I was hearing Prema, he so beautifully says that. He says, when people come and tell him that you were saying that, right? He said, no, it's my God only who's seated within you, who's inspiring you to ask this question, and then he's seating within me and giving that response. Okay, so we should just thank God. This is how it works. There's nothing I here actually. He's facilitating this whole process, right? Even if we are having a discussion, he will inspire you first to ask a question and then put thoughts and words in the other person's mind so that they can have a conversation. This is how it goes. There's no I at all if you think about this whole thing, right? And that's the whole thing. So yeah. But yeah, that ego is the is we are so habituated, or what you call that, conditioned, so to say, that it rears its ugly head here and there, and it's very sukshma, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
good discussion.
Yeah, actually, just one more thing I wanted to add was this, that simply practicing this attitude of gratitude and counting our blessings is so, so powerful in strengthening our faith in God. Like, we will start seeing things which couldn't have happened through, I mean, just by us, right? And that's what makes us realize that we are simply an instrument, and what is happening is by a much, much bigger force, which is divine.
True.
And yeah.
Yeah.
We did not choose the mother's womb that we are born to. We did not choose the timing of, venturing into this open space or this earth. We don't choose so many things, right? And we don't even know who's running our body when we are asleep. So if you think about it, everything is happening as per the design plan. Somebody's calling the shots here, right? So we have absolutely no control over anything at all. Nobody can actually. This guy Hiranyakashyap, he wanted to control everything. He got everything, all devatas, celestial beings, and everything aligned. But then his own son was not aligned. So there's absolutely no sense of control in this. We think we can control, but we cannot control, to be honest. So yeah, everything is being run
Yeah.
by God.
And yes, sir. One more thing I wanted to say was about like very recently I've been hearing this another session of Bhagavad Gita from someone. So he was actually saying that the instrument thing, okay? We say na we are instruments of God. So he just changed this perspective that don't even say that we are instrument of the God. Say sab Govind, वही कर रहे हैं वही कर रहे हैं करके so sub Govind. So you say, and that actually I was thinking that it is very close to saying aham brahmasmi, right? I am God. So I asked that will it not boost your ego? That's the highest ego that you can have. So then he said that then you say I'm nothing, then also that ego will go. So either way, take say sub Govind or say I'm not there.
How about I am a servant of God?
That's also identity, right? So you have to say that there is no I, sub Govind. So it's like a shift for me also. So like, yeah, okay. Seeing and trying to imbibe that. But basically nothing will be there, right? Mind is not there, intellect is not there. Chitta, what will we do with the chitta? Body is not there. So sub Govind. It's just conscious soul. That's it.
Awesome. So I think like we have had our discussion for the day. Should we call it?
Yeah, and but we've not done the last shloka of Damodarashtakam.
Oh, is it okay? Uh,
Yeah.
we can do it right now. And I mean, although the Kartik month is over, but we should complete it. So
Mm,
yeah. Do
do
you
you
want to
have a
find it?
copy?
Let me search. Yeah, let me do that.
So just you were asking the practical thing ना, वो भी ऐसे कर सकते ना कि जो भी है गोविंद ही लेके आ रहे हैं, all the all the situations and everything.
I found a Hindi written version, Devanagari DP. Doesn't
Yeah, I can read. Yeah.
we were on which one?
Last 8.
8, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. नमस्तेस्तु दाम्ने सुरथिप्ति नाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं. Should I read the, I mean, you can read the Hindi meaning.
Okay, I can read it, but oh wait, yeah. It's not in English, but so I'll first read it in Hindi and then maybe Nitin ji can help us translate it into English. Okay, so yeah, हे भगवान दामोदर, मैं सर्वप्रथम आपके उदर को बांधने वाली दीप्तिमान रस्सी को प्रणाम करता हूँ। आपकी प्रियतमा श्रीमती राधा रानी के चरणों में मेरा सादर प्रणाम है और अनंत लीलाएं करने वाले आप परमेश्वर को मेरा प्रणाम है। Conclusion.
It says, "O Lord Damodar." Damodar is one of the names of Lord Krishna. First and foremost, I bow down to that illumined rope that is tied around your stomach. Udar is stomach, right? And then I also, pay my obeisance to the lotus feet of your beloved Srimati Radharani. And then the infinite Leelas, and I bow down to you, who is the Parameshwar, the Supreme Lord. I bow down to you, one who does infinite Leelas. So that's my loose translation.
अच्छा था. It's good.
Perfect
Thank you.
for us. So yeah, I
Yes.
think that's how we concluded this beautiful Damodar Leela also.
Yes.
So
Nice, very nice.
we meet tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita satsang. And Shruti will be leading it, and Nitinji, I'm not sure if I'll be able to join, but I'll try my best. So I'm just letting you know.
You need to let Shruti know.
She knows. She
Hmm.
knows. And I'm
Right.
telling you guys as well. Okay. All right.
Right.
See you all tomorrow.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.